This one comes at a cost of 8.5 lakh, 9 lakh rupees on road Mumbai, and maintaining it, well, it is a task because Kawasaki charges quite a lot. And now, I guess since the competition is right here, it is a time for a MotorBeam comparo. So the next video is a comparison between these three. Hello guys, and welcome to the MotorBeam comparo of 650s. Yes, I've got adventure tourers where adventure is kind of missing, but touring is definitely there. Which one should you pick and why? I'm going to tell you exactly in today's video individually. But let's start off with something that's common between all three.
Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you.
Now all the three motorcycles, well, sizing difference, you can definitely see the smallest, the medium, the largest, M, L, XL, something like that. But no. Look at the visor at front. Visor is adjustable. This one is the easiest. Just pull, it comes up. But Triumph is working on it so that it is not as hard and does not shake as much. Push it down while riding and you can put it down too. Here you have to use two hands. Pull the latch down and then pull this visor up, something like that. Oh, it's already up. Pull it down. Do the same thing again. But on the V-Strom, you'll have to stop, take off the Allen keys, remove 4 screws and then push it down. So manually adjustable, that one's there, but that is the most stable visor. Here it vibrates a little, this one vibrates quite a lot. All the three motorcycles get a single piece seat setup. Although the Versys looks like a split seat setup, but it is just the stitching with extra foam inside of it. V-Strom has the most comfort going around with a lot of foam for the rider. And the Tiger is the sleekest here, thinnest as well. In all the three motorcycles, you get 3 levels of traction control. In both the V-Strom and the Versys, it's off, 1 or 2. However, on the Tiger, it has been named properly. It's off, rain and road. Rain being the most intrusive. Both these motorcycles, the V-Strom and the Versys, have exactly same 170 mm of ground clearance, which is a little lower considering an adventure motorcycle category. However, Tiger, we don't know the number since Triumph never shares it. We've already done the ground clearance test on the Tiger, which was quite efficient on the 900 though. We cannot do it here because there's an underbelly exhaust and not as convenient, yeah. And when I say these motorcycles are adventure not ready, number one being the ground clearance being low, road tires going all around, alloys for both these motorcycles, the Versys and the Tiger, spoked wheels for the V-Strom but road tires again. So overall, these motorcycles are touring setup, not really adventure setup. All the three motorcycles do get an adjustable lever setup for the brake as well as the clutch. But Versys is the only one which has the adjustability with the numbers going around for the clutch. For the Tiger as well as the V-Strom, you have to use that old school technique, which is like a cycle mechanism with the screws and the cable. If you haven't seen the pros and cons video of the Versys, let me give you a quick rundown. Yes, this one is actually a looker, and personally I feel it looks much better than those two right there because it looks proportionate all around. It is a tall motorcycle, it is a comfortable motorcycle, but definitely a good looker. And then comes the price. This one is priced at 8.5 lakh, close to 9 lakh rupees, while those two are about 10. So if you're looking or if you're under budget, this one becomes a good pick, yeah. As I mentioned, the common things between that, this one gets a single seat but extra cushions going around for the pillion too. So yes, this one gets a split seat stitching going around with cushioning under it. So that makes it very comfortable for the pillion, as well as it becomes a good back support for the rider too. Now since you are on a budget, you will want a motorcycle that is a good touring motorcycle but can do your daily duties too. So this one, the Versys, has the best low end torque compared to those two because this one can ride in the city very well. That is not a problem with a good mid-range and a decent top end too. But if you're gonna ride it in traffic or in city situations, the Versys takes a step up compared to those two. Both the headlights on the Versys 650 work together for the low beam as well as the high beam. So that is something which I like quite a lot. Symmetry going around perfectly well. The Kawasaki Versys is the smartest motorcycle here because it has the best battery management, as it turns off the headlight the moment you kill the switch.
For the other motorcycles, until and unless you switch off the key, the headlight stays on.
Now this motorcycle does sound quite nice because of the parallel twin rumble, and here is the exhaust note again. The only problem is that this one is not the most powerful. It has decent amount of torque, decent power going around, but there is no kick in the butt feel anymore. This one does not accelerate as quickly. It has a good push, or actually a good pull, with like an experienced rider pulling you ahead, but that's about it. Now you've got forks from Showa, and yes, although this is the cheapest, out of all the three, this is the only motorcycle where you get front adjustable upside down forks for compression as well as damping. Now that is something that everyone, or even an experienced rider, will look out for. Or if you're a new rider, you can learn something from it. You can adjust it the way you want it, and then this motorcycle will react to that the way you like it. But then there are some shortcomings for the Versys as well. The number one con being for the Versys is nothing else but the seat height. Yes, the seat is soft, cushioned and very nice, but it is the tallest of all the three, and that is something that bothers quite a lot. It is the widest too, so that adds up to the problem, because if you are short, you won't be able to sit on this comfortably and manage it in traffic as easily. Now comparing all the three motorcycles here, yes, they are all about 200 kgs, but this one is the heaviest at 220 kgs. Now that is a little bit difficult if you want to move it around in standard situations or standstill situations, but once you get moving, the weight just disappears. This one gets a manually adjustable visor. Now that is something that is good, but then you need to use two hands because there's a clamp which goes down and then you have to pull it. Until unless you are an experienced rider, you should not do this while riding. Stop, get the visor adjusted and then keep moving. Otherwise you can just keep playing around the way you like it if you're as experienced. Yeah. Now the overall motorcycle is very nice, very usable, but then the tires from Dunlop are not the best. In normal road situations too, if the tarmac is not the best, or if you're onto cemented roads, the grip is actually not there. Traction control actually saves your life. From the last Versys review too, I had said this across that these Dunlop tires are shit for Indian road conditions, and it has been the same case over here. However, the traction control saves your life and it gets 3 levels of it. And the last is nothing else but the expensive spares for the Versys. Although it is the cheapest to buy, it is still quite expensive to maintain. However, you get the largest numbers of service centers from Kawasaki. That's close to 29 compared to those two, yeah. So that was the Versys, but now if you are considering the V-Strom 650, let me tell you this. One of my colleague mentioned right now, इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा real estate मिलता है. What he means is, this is the most spacious, actually the largest motorcycle of all the three. And if you look at it, this one does say that I am a big motorcycle, although it's just a 650. It is the spacious, it is the most comfortable, it has a lot more room for the rider as well as the pillion. So if you're looking for someone who's big, say if you're 6-feeter and if you want a spacious motorcycle, you'll actually fall in love with this and not those two, definitely. You guys did criticize me that in the 300cc Comparo I was saying that halogen is better than LEDs. You know what? LEDs are better, I agree, in daytime riding or as DRLs or something like that, or in nighttime riding as well when it's dry. But then if in the night or during heavy fog conditions or during rain as well, halogens do come in handy as they penetrate pretty well rather than LEDs, because LEDs just will light up everything else but not the road. This one will point to the road, and over here halogens do come in very handy because this is a bright setup. In our test I did figure out that this one is a little more efficient than the Versys, just by 0.234 kilometers per liter. But then if I consider the riding range of both the motorcycles, it is exactly the same, Versys and the V-Strom, because Versys is close to 21 liters, this one has a 20-liter fuel tank, and the riding range is exactly 400 plus kilometers, and that what makes it quite nice. Now something that the Suzuki bling has been going around since quite some time are those golden rims, and these are spoked rims with tubeless rubber. Now that is something that comes on premium motorcycles, and this is definitely a step to it. That said, you get the thinnest tires over here, but then the 19-inch wheel at the front does help you handle bad roads pretty nicely. So if you're touring and hit a pothole or something like that, you will not be stopping at the side of a road very frequently. This will handle it pretty well. And when you are going the distance, the longest wheelbase of almost 1560 mm, more than 100 mm of those, the V-Strom has the best straight line stability. It just sits on the road and shoots at a particular point very nicely. Although it has the longest wheelbase, yes, this one has a very good turning radius because the handlebar turns really well, and that is advantageous because it gets telescopic for the front. The other two get USDs. The V-Strom produces a bit more power than the Versys, and the overall torque spread is quite a lot nice in the mid-range. So if you're looking for something in the touring range only, this one does it purely well. And you know what? V-twin engines are made for touring because they can continuously keep giving out the torque in a wider band, and this is what is going around here. So if you want a touring specific engine, the V-Strom has it. The overall gears are also quite wide, so touring actually becomes effortless on this motorcycle. As I had already mentioned that there is a task that comes to it when you want to adjust the visor. You actually have to take off 1, 2, 3, 4 of these screws and adjust it to 3 particular levels only. And you have to do it standstill with a toolkit in your hand. So that is something that becomes a major con for it, because why would you stop and get this adjusted and do all of that? It's easy there, yeah. Now yes, I did complain that LEDs are something okay, halogens are better, but then in indicators and taillights, yes, you want better things going around because you just want to indicate what you're doing. So over here, LED indicators would have made much more sense. These halogen old school shaped indicators, well, they don't look as good. This is the only one with a telescopic suspension at the front for a complete soft setup going around. But yes, this is not the most dynamic as the other two. The price of the V-Strom is almost 1.5 lakhs more than the Versys, and it's got the thinnest tires going around over here. But then the tires do grab decently well, and these are Bridgestone Battlex tires which are much better than those Dunlops. However, the setup could have been slightly better and it would have made a little more value for money. If you're looking for the VFM tag, Versys had it. This one is a little bit expensive. And special thanks to Ketan, who has lended his bike for this comparison, because without that it wouldn't have been possible at all. The information for his price is right there in the description. He manages all the Suzuki motorcycles, so if you're looking for one, he can definitely help you out there. This is the Tiger Sport 660. And yes, the major pro of this motorcycle is the engine, the performance, the torque, because it is the most powerful, the most torquiest too. And this is the only motorcycle in today's comparison to get a bi-directional quick shifter. Now that does make your life easy. This one is so much more of a sports motorcycle than just a tourer, yeah. Now this motorcycle sounds the sweetest because of the inline 3 motor. And here is the exhaust note. This one does sound like a super bike. Oh my goodness. This is what excites me most of the Tiger Sport 660. As I had already mentioned before, it is the easiest to adjust the visor, but this one keeps vibrating quite a lot. It's got a little hard too. So Triumph is working on it, but yeah, convenient but not as much. Out of all the three, the Tiger Sport 660 has got the best tires over here. 120 section at the front, 180 at the rear, and these are road 5s. These grip so well that this one corners like crazy. It has a tubular frame going around, and the balance with the Showa forks at the front as well as the rear, well, that is something that is brilliant, because the dynamics of this motorcycle along with the grippier tires, you can corner like a normal super bike on an adventure tour of sorts. Now this is a very rev friendly engine. It is not as torque rich in the low end. It has the most torque, but it is in the top end. That said, this one is ready to filter through any traffic anywhere because it is dynamically rich again. And that said, this one can actually maintain a higher top speed all the time. You want to go touring in triple digit speeds, this one can do it much better. And if you want a motorcycle for touring, but if you want to go solo, well, the Tiger Sport 660 is the one you should consider, because this is a rider oriented motorcycle, and that is what it does the best, because comfort for the rider, overall dynamics and overall fit finish is very well suited for solo riding. The Tiger Sport 660 has the longest service interval of all the three, and overall cost to maintain too is a lot more affordable, easy to your pocket, and I can get on with the adjectives because this is nice. All the three companies offer 2 years ka warranty, but Triumph is the only one to offer unlimited kilometers ka warranty. Other two just limit to 30,000 kilometers. The number one con being for the Tiger Sport 660 that this is the smallest motorcycle. Even in a standstill crowd, you might not be able to differentiate with this motorcycle, and that said, This one does not fit pillion as easily. As I said, it's a rider-oriented motorcycle, solo motorcycle, and overall size of this motorcycle is just tiny. This is again the hottest motorcycle of the three in terms of heat dissipation too, because this one is the highest compression motorcycle and it gets a lot more hot than any of the motorcycles right here, because this one is hot. Traffic situations, your legs will be boiling the most. Considering the feature that it has and everything else, this one comes at a price which is costliest of all the three. Still, getting the VFM tag is not really viable, because this one comes at almost 11 lakh rupees, 10.5 and then just 9. So this one is almost 2 lakh rupees more than the Versys, making it very, very expensive. If you're looking for a sporty motorcycle that does your daily duties too and can do a little bit of touring, sounds very nice, get the Tiger Sport 660, because that is the best option over here in terms of that. If you want a touring motorcycle that does go the distance, has a top box mount kind of a thing going around for the rear as well, which I missed mentioning. So that is the V-Strom, and that does it pretty well too. Touring, sportiness. But if you want a balance of both, and if you are on a budget, something that is going to be a daily motorcycle as well as a touring motorcycle as well as office commute too, the Versys does it pretty well, because that comes on a budget and that is friendly too. In today's comparison, your purpose is your pick, and that is what I end with. Thank you so much. Bye bye.